My name is Brian. I work for the town, and officially I'm the Tourism Development Officer. Unofficially I'm the town's historian, town historian, I guess that's a word. So everything 9/11 or Pumpkin Way or airport related or history related falls to me, and I love it. I'm here on my own time today because I want to meet you people. Thank you. My wife and I were just out yard sailing and my alarm went off. I said, I got to get to the town hall.
Any good sales stuff?
We saved you some money.
Oh, we okay. Yeah, I had changed my pocket, but I no longer had. So I'm told that most of you are from the U.S. and some of you are from Canada. Welcome to Gander. Very delighted to have you here this morning. And we had 3 beautiful weeks of weather. We had scorching weather. Finally, yesterday we got some rain, which we needed badly. Now, this morning the temperature is more sensible for us. We don't like high 30s humidities. We're not used to it. So today's a lot better. I see some of you wearing jackets. I'm too warm. So I won't do any more housekeeping. You're here to see and learn about the Compassion Monument and the town of Gander's role during 9/11. Yeah, it's going to be difficult back by the road, yes. Can we get
right up in here?
I'll move up here.
Move up.
If everybody moved ahead like one space.
He's right. He's on the way.
There you go. And you can come over on the grass. That's not a problem.
Here, I'll give you the keys. Tell me, help me move the chair.
Let's see. I think we're out of luck. But you got a crutch.
Closer is even better. All right. So I'll talk about the Compassion Monument to start. Then I'll get into a bit of Gander's role during 9/11. Then I'll give you kind of my experience here during 9/11 and what I did at Vermont. I've been the tourist officer here for a lot of years. Before this, I managed the aviation museum down on the highway. We're going there afterwards. So perfect. I'll give you some personal recollections of what happened there that you will not hear from anybody else, and because that's where I was during 9/11. We'll start with the Compassion Monument, and I'll stand up beside a little bit. This is, of course, a piece of steel from the World Trade Center, and it is the first piece outside the U.S. Piece number 1. And I've got a little plaque done up here. I could not put much of the story into the plaque. The backstory is tremendous compared to what I put into the plaque. But essentially, the main thing that you can get out of the plaque is that this first was in the fire hall in Bethpage, New York. And Bethpage, for those of you who don't know, it's on Long Island, near New York City. People live there and commute back and forth to New York City. Their fire hall responded to the Twin Towers. They lost 80% of their crew. Wow. They were the hardest hit of all the fire halls. And I've been there. Their fire halls are about as big as ours. I can't imagine losing one, let alone 80%. So when the cleanup was happening of the World Trade Center site over the next couple of years, they were gifted this piece of steel to display in their fire hall to remember their lost first responders. And it was in their fire hall for a few years. One day in July of 2011, a courier shows up here with a crate. We're not expecting a crate. We're not expecting anything. We open it up. This is in it. Packed in straw for some reason. But, so they contacted us. They explained what it is. And they said, we heard about your 9/11 response 10 years ago. So we want to give you our piece of steel to thank you, Newfoundlanders, for all the help you've shown the passengers. Well, our answer was, of course, we'd be honored to do it. Flabbergasted, actually, because this had never occurred anywhere else. We were town number 1. So what do I do with it? Well, I didn't have plans to display a big piece of steel. So, lobby inside the town hall. Where else was I going to put it with the lobby? Of course I was. And I had it in the lobby for a lot of years. Simple layout. I had it on a big steel table because it's heavy. I had a Newfoundland tartan underneath. I had someone make me a beautiful, nice Newfoundland tartan. And it was there for a few years. And local people would come in and out and see it during regular working hours. And then a play called Come From Away hit Broadway, in Toronto and around the world. And visitation, like yourselves, went through the roof. And people were visiting all hours of the day, evenings, weekends, We're closed, the door is locked. Could not get in there. No reason we're not inside the door. And I'd come in Monday mornings, there'd be handprints all over the glass, there'd be smears around. So I knew people were trying to see the catchment. So I got it outside. I've been trying to get it outside for a while. Council agreed with me, we got it outside. Now, the rock itself is a 9,000 pound piece of local granite. Now, it doesn't look like 9,000, but the payloader that dropped it off here for me destroyed the lines. So that's why the walkway is right here. The ruts filled them in. And I got this in a quarry about an hour west of here, a little place called Jumpers Brook, way down through the interior of Newfoundland. And I went there in April of 2021. Snow, still 6 inches of snow still on the ground. Miserable wet day. And I saw all the pieces that the foreman had laid out for us, and I didn't like any of them. And so I was mucking around in the trees, and I saw this upended. So this end was on the ground, and the tip was straight up. And I thought, viscosity is a piece of line. And I chose it because the natural scoop out there is a great place to sit, because it's meant to be interactive. And as you see it, I didn't have to modify it whatsoever. Now the idea for the monument is that Newfoundland, the rock, is supporting the passengers. That's the whole idea. It's as simple as that. And I had a guy yesterday say to me, it was kind of plain. Yes, it is. It's meant to be plain because it reflects our 9/11 response. We were a town of about 9,300 at the time. We had almost 7,000 people needing to be fed and cared and entertained. Of course we're going to do. That's what you do for your fellow humans. There's no other response. And we didn't go to the media and say, hey, look what we're doing. Put us on TV. Not part of the thought process. So there are no neon, no R's, there's no flash. Because it doesn't need it. It's meant to stand on its own. And I didn't want to take away from the ski. And we unveiled this on the 20th anniversary. It was a Saturday morning, and the weather was rotten. If I only had a day like this, it would have been fantastic. A hurricane had gone by the coast the night before. We don't get a lot of hurricanes over here. And it did quite a bit of damage to some of the fishing communities on the coast. People lost boats, and they lost their wharves, and a lot of it. Saturday morning, the rain wasn't too bad. The rain had mostly pushed off. The wind was ridiculous. I guess we were in the tail as it moved away. Those two maples there, I was worried about their number. I had 3 flags there, 3 flagpoles for the unveiling. They all blew down. And I had a much nicer set of clothes than I do today. I had a suit, I had a tie, you know, because it's an unveiling. And I had to scramble to find cinder blocks to hold the flag to keep the flags in one. We had not a lot of people here because when the 20th anniversary occurred, it was the middle of COVID. So people weren't really able to travel. We did, however, have the American ambassador here. And we had representatives from the Canadian government. NBC came up from the US. CTV came down from Ontario. We had a couple of bloggers here from Brazil. A couple of media people from Australia. But that was about it. There may be 30 people here. Part of it was COVID. Part of it was sheer rotten day that it was. And the thing I remember most about the unveiling is that the American ambassador had brought 2 Secret Service. And if you've ever seen a Hollywood movie, they got the black sunglasses, and they got the earpiece coming down, the black and white suit, like the white shirt. Yeah, they don't try to hide. You know they are Secret Service. And one of them, his name was Brian, same as me. Brian was one of the tallest people I've ever interacted with. He was 6'7", very tall. So when I looked at it, at a few people who were here, Brian's head would be up above everybody looking back. And when the politicians all stood here to be interviewed, have the picture taken, because he thought it was about them, I stood up to the side, but I didn't really want to take pictures. And Brian stood back there by the crossway. So Brian was looking this way, well, I'm looking that way, we're facing each other. And of course the rain starts to hit, so it's absolutely miserable. When they take the sheet off this, he starts to cry. It's a big robot guy starts to cry. A little bit emotional because I'm remembering this up here now. I'm looking at Brian. went over to him afterwards. We got to know each other a little bit. They were only here a day. And he said, man, he said, you got to realize I lost a lot of friends from the college together. He said, life's been rough. Work's been rough. I've been able to fly once, really. But I've long wanted to come up here. Meet you guys, say hello, thank you. But I couldn't do it. When I found out the ambassador was coming, he said, here's my things. I got to do this. So he lobbied to be part of the crew, and he did it. He was here. He did not want to talk about the trip here, but he said, I'm here. And he said, I realized, standing back there, he said, when the sheet came out of this and it was unveiled, he said, Gander might be 1,000 miles literally from New York City. But you guys understand, you get it. I said, yes, because we were right there with you. We were just on this side of things. Last September, I had a big family came up from Syracuse, New York, 16 or 17 people. They had lost a cousin, a relative in the Twin Towers. And they said, take our picture. They had 4 grandkids, so I squeezed the 4 grandkids there on the little scoop out. And 12 or 13 adults just kind of crowded around this deal. And I stood back there to take their picture. And just like the monument was a member of the family. That's what I do. The steel itself, it's only 38 inches wide. It's a fairly small piece. 650 pounds. To kind of give you an idea, this is a small portion of one floor of one of the 100-story buildings. 650 pounds. It took 4 of the biggest, burliest guys to wrestle this up here. And the bolts that are here go down 2 feet into the stone because it's so tough. Now you'll notice, and I'm going to put it a bit harder for you guys, up on the top right corner, it almost looks like damage. This is not damage. These are 4 shamrocks that were cut out from memorials. Cut out on purpose. It's easy to see from here. Now, I can assure you that wasn't somebody walking off the street and saying, cut me from this. Did not happen. So when the Bethpage crew went to the site to choose a piece of steel, this was about 03 or so, 02 or 03, there were several of these pieces already cut to be distributed to different farmers. They chose this piece because the 4 memorial pieces had already been cut out. Well, naturally they asked, who has them? Where are they? You do not need to know. They were not told. Now, the American government is very particular with pieces of steel. Very particular. I had to give the latitude and longitude of this down to the second. I had to do a site plan, I had to do a rationale, to be allowed to preface it. So knowing the paperwork, I had to go. And in fact, they wouldn't tell firefighters where the 4 pieces are. Leads us to believe it had to be something in authority. I've since found out that, well, in the last year or so, this is the only piece anywhere that has been modified. All the other pieces distributed are as cut. So there are 4 memorial pieces floating around. They're all from this. No more. Bethpage crew kind of thinks it had to be at least the mayor's office or higher. So I guess where did you have to get out of there? The 4th. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a piece in the White House. But honestly, we don't know. They were not told. We were not told when we questioned. So there are 4 memorial pieces somewhere in the United States. Now, I read mystery novels. In fact, there's a mystery associated with this. Oh, I love it. But at the same time, next year or 5 years down the road, someone says to me, I know where they are. Now I've got to track them down with pictures. But we'll see about that. So that's the background story for it. But the passion could not squeeze it into a plaque. I mean, the plaque would have to be as big as the building. Now, that week here in Gander started out, like anybody would tell you, was a normal Tuesday morning. And the weather was just like today. We had 6 beautiful days in a row. You don't usually get 6 beautiful days in a row, but for 9/11. Now, at the time, as I mentioned, I was the manager of the aviation. And I went to work that morning, 8:30. Gosh, I could smell jet fuel. And the museum down in the highway near the lake is not under a flight path. The town hall is under a flight path, but we're not down there. So I went out to the parking lot. Geez, there are 2 737s making a slow circle around Gander, disappearing down over the horizon, coming out. geez, there's another one. Anyway, all these aircraft were making this big, lazy circuit all around, probably 25 miles across. And I found out later that evening from some of my air traffic control friends, the 38 aircraft were coming across the Atlantic with fuel to go to LaGuardia or Texas. They could not land with the fuel they had on board, so we had to go around the fuel first. So the air traffic control, this big, lazy arm, and as I watched, another one came back. Another one came back. And being here, looking up, slinking. I realized we were slinking, right? And it was just that's all glinting in the sky. You couldn't look at it because of the sun. Slow drone rumble, you felt it ground, you felt it. There's even a couple of all our pictures in the walls were crooked. For the entire week, Gander had a faint smell of jet fuel. Entire week. Because they burned off and dumped the fuel out into the waters. And I can't go up to the airport today. There's a fuel supply on the way to the airport. If I smell jet fuel, bang, September 11th. It's funny what the brain seems to do to that. So, when they landed, when the air traffic controllers got the 38 jumpers there, our understanding on Tuesday the 11th was that they're here today, gone tomorrow. It's easy to look back. That's the information we have. Here today, gone tomorrow. When Wednesday morning came, we were all yeah, they're going here. Don't know how long. And as we turn out, a lot of them were here 5 nights and 6 days. So I put the out. I contacted the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, myself, pretty much everybody I thought would have passengers. We all know each other, they all. But I said, hey, look, if you've got passengers who want to learn about where they've been dropped, send them down to me at the museum. On the highway, it's only 5 or 10 minutes walk. And I said, we have a $3 admission fee, forget it, I'll waive it. They said we're on the flight back. Well, that's a student. And I waived the $3 admission fee because I figured we're going to have a couple different countries here. Who's going to have Canadian money? We would eventually find out we have 9 different countries. A couple months later, and I also said, I'll be in the building as long as somebody wants to be in the building. Close the fly at the top. I said, yeah, forget that. I'm not going to be flying. Somebody's here. I'm staying. So I went to work 8 o'clock every morning. One night I went home at 1. And I attribute that to the fact that we had so many different people from so many different countries. And by midnight, they were better. So they were ready to go. Now I got to tell you, boy, did they take me up on my offer to come back to the museum. By the end of the week, I saw at least 1,000 passengers to the museum. At least. My wife says more than that. She came back. So I just settled on a flat 1,000. So I said more than that, nobody would believe me. But the museum was blocked. Seriously. It was I've seen my mind's eye now. Cross-section of humanity. Everybody was there. We had seniors, we had young people with kids, we had groups, we had single people, and nobody said, I'm more important. Me, I need, I want. Seriously. Right until Sunday, until people left, nobody said me. Nobody. And looking at the people in the museum, I didn't know who was who. She might have been a doctor. He might have been a student. Nobody said me. Not that it mattered, because everybody got treated the same. And in the weeks and months afterwards, we got thank you cards and letters and kids' drawings by the thousands. The town hall got them, the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, the hotels, the airport, the police, and the museum. The letter carriers at Gander must have had bad thanks for a while. And when we started getting these thank you cards and letters, that's when we realized who had been with them. Now they were signed. We had captains of industry. We had owners of airlines. Richard Branson was here. Slept in a church on a pew. Didn't say